Hi, Libra Sun and Rising. Welcome to your August 2024 belated astro update. It's Raina here. I want to thank the person who asked where the reading was. I had posted every other sign, and I do believe that I did it and then somehow did not upload it and probably do not have that recording anymore. So it's all good. I can start from the 5th. It's no problem. I want to point out some activity that happened on the 4th because it's really important. We had a new moon at 12 degrees of Leo on the 4th of August, and for Libra Sun and Rising people, this is the 11th house. Remember that this is a general reading, so when I talk about specifics regarding house placement, it may not fall that way in your particular chart. So I'm just trying to make it easier for me and do it as a general type of reading. So the 11th house is a social house. It is the people that you associate with, maybe in a casual sort of way, versus, for instance, the 6th house, your workmates and things like that. So this is like your social time, and also any groups that you belong to. And some of those groups, especially for a sign like Libra, might be political in their orientation, because Libra tends to believe in justice. I call this a social justice warrior house. So when there is a new moon in this area, it is possible that you are expanding your social contacts in some way. Also, this is the house of gains, and that means that financially this can be a house where it can measure the growth of your profits or your wages or whatever you want to call it. And it's also the house of hopes and wishes. And so there was an astrologer that said that you should make 40 new moon wishes. She passed away, but her idea kind of like sounded intriguing to me, and I remember doing it, and I couldn't come up with 40, because that's a lot if you think about it, to even have 40 goals at all. But if you make some of them rather small, like maybe even a dress or an outfit that you want to buy, it might be something that is more easy to manifest. But for her, it was considered the luckiest house. And I don't know, I've been trying to look for verification of that in terms of other astrologers saying the same thing. And I realized that there are ancient astrologers and astrology, and like Vedic astrology, this I'm assuming this was a Western astrologer who came up with this. But sometimes in Vedic astrology, when I look at how they define the houses, it's a bit different than in Western astrology. So, and I haven't studied Vedic astrology. I just have been exposed to it from, time to time. So, anyway, that was something that is still active if you're listening on the 5th, for a few days afterwards. And I just heard another astrologer saying 2 weeks later, and you could even say like month to month, from one new moon to the next, whatever resonates with you. But the bottom line is that that was happening then. And then today, on the 5th, when I'm recording this, there's going to be a Mercury retrograde that begins in Virgo, and Virgo is your 12th house. So this Mercury retrograde will go back into your 11th house, where you have Leo and where you had the new moon, and that could be important on some level. I'd like to see something here. I was looking to see where Mars was at currently, and Mars is in Gemini throughout the month of August, which is a fellow air sign, and that means it's going to be in the ninth house. So this can be a month where you are perhaps pursuing some kind of travel to a faraway place and you're roaming around. The ninth house is the law, so you could be studying it. Libra is a sign that is very attracted to the legal profession in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a paralegal or a lawyer, maybe a judge. And so maybe you're pursuing that, some of you, or higher education can be the ninth house, or some kind of a spiritual discipline or a spiritual training that you hope will lead into a business. Mercury, beginning its retrograde in the 12th house as I record this, is a very, I don't know, I was going to say a weird place for Mercury to be, because Mercury is about communication. The 12th house is not really, it's not really conducive for very clear communication coming from the 12th, because the 12th house is the house of past lives, anything to do with, psychic matters, spiritual matters, fantasy, not necessarily anything grounded at all. And it can make you quite psychic, but not necessarily easily able to communicate your ideas to others. And so and also you might be actually, when it's in the 12th house, avoiding communicating with others. This is the Hermit's house. So in general, you might kind of be staying, keeping to yourself, being much more of a hermit, and not really putting yourself out there talking to people. Even if they're trusted friends, you just may be in hermit mode. And maybe even being a bit secretive and not sharing ideas with others for whatever reason. But then Mercury goes back into the 11th house mid-month, and then maybe you are contacting friends again. Mercury retrograde can be a time when you are contacted by somebody you haven't heard from in a while, but I suppose it could work both ways. If you have like an old friend that you kind of lost contact with, who knows? Maybe you'll reach out, or they will. And it can be, sometimes I see Libra sun and rising as very people-oriented, as well as, like social types of people. But sometimes even sociable people need some downtime. On the 22nd, you have the sun going into the 12th, and this is officially a period of hermiting in a big way, because it's the month before your solar return, or if this is your ascendant, then the month before the sun crosses over into your first house and starts a whole new chapter again. So it just may naturally occur that you feel more within yourself, and maybe even a little bit physically drained, and you just need that recharging, that retreating type of thing going on. So with Mars in the ninth house, for some people that have the opportunity, you might even pursue some sort of retreat, and it could be in a foreign country. It could be someplace that is naturally known for its spiritual nature, or for its pristine environment that is really conducive for unplugging and all of that kind of stuff, because that's what this is all about. So yeah, so that's happening. There will be a full moon on the 19th of August at 27 degrees of Aquarius, and that's falling in your fifth house. This is a trine to you, a fellow air sign in the opposite way from the Mars, and this is in your fifth house of love and romance. Now, with the recent eclipses in Aries and Libra, the last Libra eclipse was on the 25th of March. It was actually a lunar eclipse, so it aspected that seventh house. The sun was in the seventh house, and that was a time that some Libra people may have gotten some insight into their part in a relationship issue. Maybe it was something coming to a head, and you had to kind of face your own behavior. I'm not saying that the Libra person was creating the problem in the relationship, but let's say you were too willing to go along with the program, then that's part of the problem. When somebody has a relationship that doesn't work out, if you're like afraid to say no, in other words, then the other person, it's very easy for them to run roughshod over their partner. So this full moon in the fifth house can be a time when somebody who's holding on to a marriage that is not working realizes that the love has gone, because the seventh house that you rule in astrology is about commitment or a marriage, let's say. But just because two people are married doesn't mean that they're both committed to the relationship. Somebody could be cheating. Someone could be not really there for love, but there because the other person is financially well off and they feel safe being taken care of financially. There are many reasons why people are together, and they're not always because of love. But sometimes people are kind of in denial over that. They might think, well, I think I'm in love, but they're really not. And this could be the time when you realize the truth of your situation, and it makes it easier for you to break it off if necessary. You're going to have a final eclipse in Libra on October 2nd, and you could actually feel that eclipse in August. 6 weeks before, you might feel something. And the importance of that is that if you're experiencing some sort of relationship friction or issues in general, this solar eclipse in your sign, which is a powerful new moon, technically on October 2nd, but maybe even felt as early as August, late August, or during the month of September, being in your first house, it can really stimulate your independence, because this is the house of the self. So just keep that in mind, because that might be a theme for some of you. And even if it feels like it's not something that you normally are into, it certainly can be. What I mean is, since you rule the house of relationships, you tend to want them. You tend to be kind of geared towards relationships rather than just doing things independently. But it can be very important, and this full moon can be a time of really discovering your true feelings or attitude towards someone that you have loved. It's like about the theme of love. And for any artists out there, this is a great time to create and come up with great ideas, a fertile time. Speaking of fertility, this is the house of conceiving children. So full moons can be very fertile times. Watch that, definitely. On the 29th, which is the day after Mercury turns direct in your 11th house, Venus goes into your sign. So, oh yeah, that's another thing too. With Venus in the 12th house, there could be clandestine stuff going on where you're dating someone, but you don't want anyone to know about it, not even some of your good friends, because you don't, if it's like, let's say you're separated from your marriage and you're seeing people outside of the marriage, you might just feel like you don't want that kind of scrutiny. And yeah, so when Venus is in the first house, this is kind of like giving you a magnetism. Venus is magnetic, so it can really draw people to you. They feel attracted to you. That's what magnetism is, attraction. When we say somebody is attractive, we're talking about being good looking, but it can be more than that. And so this could be a very good time for you to get what you need. Like if you're looking for a job and you're going to make a great impression, or if you're trying to date, the other party may see you in a very favorable light. Or just through business, trying to promote your business. Anyone in sales, it can be a great time for that as well. All right, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated, and if you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.